Okay, so such one had observed that nerves that carried sensation had fatty covering over them. After about 2 decades of this observation, a description of nerve cells was present. This remained unaccepted to the scientific community for a long time as it was challenged to observe these cells separately. So those times there is no microscope, so they felt very difficult to observe the this one. What is that? Nerve cell. So after finding of the microscope in 1910, these cells were observed clearly for the first time, and there after finding the microscope in 1910, so they observed very carefully. Okay, so growth and development of these cells started during the 1930s. Thus it became clear that nerves were the different types and usually formed of groups of nerve cell. Each nerve cell had a nucleus and several mitochondria, Golgi bodies and other cell organelles. So nerve cell has so many mitochondria in each nerve cell, nucleus is there, Golgi bodies and other organelles. Organelles like endoplasmic reticulum and ribosome, all these things are present, cytoplasm. Okay. So the speciality of nerve cells is that their cell membrane and cytoplasm from extended branch like projections called as dendrites. Some of these that are long are called as axons. Okay, so axons reach the furthest extremities of our body. Some of the axons are covered with a fatty layer called as myelin sheath. Such one had observed that the sheath was made of cells which were later called as such one cells. Now for example, when we see inside this nerve cell, cytoplasm is there and the next cell membrane is there. This is the cell membrane. So this cell membrane and cytoplasm, they grown as a projected. That means from the cell membrane and the cytoplasm, dendrite has grown. Not only the dendrite, one long axon also grown. This axon was covered with the myelin sheath. Okay, so myelin sheath, and in that such one cell also there is, and at the end of the axon there is a synapse is there, and this synapse is connected to the dendrites. Okay, synapses are connected to the this one dendrites, and again this synapse is connected to the dendrites. Here synapses are there and this one will be connected to another dendrite, another nerve cell. So okay, so when we see here, so this is the one. Such one cells, a myelin sheath were wrapped in such a manner over the axons that will be protecting the axon. This myelin sheath. And Camillo Golgi and Raman Kajal were conferred the Nobel Prize in 1906 for the description of the nerve cell. So they studied about the nerve cell very clearly, so they got the Nobel Prize. And it was similar to the description given by Robert Remarque way back in 1850s. So Robert Remarque already explained about in 1850 about the nerve cell, but it is not much cared, it is not given importance. Afterwards they have given the importance and they appreciated him, okay, after his death only. So here, bringing together several axons in a bunch, it also helps in increasing the rate of the flow of information. The axons of nerves with their cell bodies in the brain and spinal cords reach different areas of our body. Okay, so these axons of the nerves reaches in the brain and spinal cords and each part of our body. You may be surprised to know that axons may be so long as to start from brain or spinal cord and reach the end of our toes. The sum of our nerve cells are as long as our height. Some nerve cells are very height, it seems. How much long we are, that much long is the nerve cell in our body. Okay, so these axons are only ending, these axons only spreading. Okay, so at the end of the axons, synapses are there. So these synapses will be attached to the another dendrite of the nerve cell. So here information will be given. The synapses are there, so this through this only information will be given to the next one, and another one gives information and another one gives the information. So here in this place only exchange of information takes place. Information means somebody touching us. So we know somebody touches us. Who tells that one? First brain will get the message and brain tells to the nerves to react to that action, to that touching. Okay. So here different areas of our body. You may be surprised to know that axons may be so long as to start from brain or spinal cord. Okay. What do you think is a cell body carrying nucleus of such nerve cells? Yes, nucleus is there. Nerves have protecting coverings. What are the protecting coverings of our brain and spinal cord? We will see now. Nerves, what is the protecting covering of the nerves? Myelin sheath. Okay. And apart from nerve cells, there are several blood cells and other mainly protective cells in our brain and spinal cord. Not only the nerve cells are there in our body, there are other important cells are there like blood cells and mainly protective cells. All these structures are together wrapped by a dermal tissues that have fluid filled between the layers of them. These are further covered by the bony armor of skull and our vertebral column. Okay, bony armor of the skull is protector for the brain. Our head when we beat our head, we hear the sound So we just beat your head, you hear the sound. That head is what? Skull. That is the protection for the brain. And for the spinal cord, which is the protection? Vertebral is the protection. Underline this point. Vertebral have mainly shock absorbing fluid filled discs between them that also helps in smooth movement. Information is conducted between nerves and muscles through areas called as a synapses. Underline this point. They may ask the question, what is synapses? So synapses means what? Information is conducted between the nerves and muscles through areas called as a synapses. So the name synapse refers to fixed overlapping connections. In reality, these have been observed to be areas of gaps, either between nerves or nerve and muscles. The certain chemicals in these gaps help in conduction of information. So far we have come to know that the conduction of information across nerve is due to the certain electrochemical process. These are very complex and a field of ongoing research. So for example, synapse means these axons between this nerve cell and between this nerve cell. In between there will be a gap is there. That is called as a synapse, where the exchange of the information is taking place. Here is some gap is there. In between this nerve cell and this nerve cell. That gap is called as synapse. And here also some chemicals are present which helps to exchange the information. Not only between the nerve cell and nerve cell, but also between the nerve cell and the muscle cell. In between we get the information. There is a between the nerve or nerve cell or between the nerve cell or the muscles, there is a gap is there. It is called as a synapse. Not only gap, there are some chemicals are present which helps for the exchange of the information.